In the previous episode of the Winter Arc series, we explored how sleep is the foundation of physical health. In this episode 3, we are introducing the next layer, creative expression, and its profound impact on mental health. Together, sleep and creative expression, introduced early on in the Winter Arc, can be the beautiful, grounded foundation for all other changes we introduce in the end of this year. If you're new here, my name is Maria, and this is your channel for creating a calm and balanced life. When we talk about creativity, I don't necessarily mean getting like paints and canvas out, although of course you can if that's your way of expressing your creativity. Creativity is generally in the context of Winter Arc, anything that gets us off the autopilot. The thing is that we do so many things without even stopping to think about what we're doing, how and why we do things in a certain way. By introducing creativity in the daily tasks, such as cooking or getting dressed or anything really, like even arranging things on our desk, we can help our minds be more present and mindful. Mindfulness in turn has a profound healing effect on our mental health. And of course, paint and canvas or pencils and a sketchbook is one of the coolest, my personal favorites in terms of expressing myself creatively. And the subject of creativity is very personal to me. I love visual art. I love taking in visual art. I like anything beautiful, like whether it's sculptures or paintings or ballet. And I love also creating visual art and photography, drawing, coloring. The very action of doing something with my creativity, even as simple as like paint by numbers. I always talk about how before having my second child, I remembered how easy it is to get lost in these first few weeks of motherhood. And what I did is I preventatively bought a paint by numbers set with like canvas and acrylic paint. And that really saved me, because every day for just 5-6 minutes a day, I would sit down and do like basic paint by numbers, and it brought me back to myself. So for me, the creative expression is also a huge part of getting back to myself, my authenticity. And for this Winter Arc, I did something pretty special for myself. It's a small thing maybe for anyone, but I had my eyes on some watercolor markers and I got them. I got 2 sets, one for painting with watercolor markers and another one for lettering. And I love calligraphy. I used to have a really good handwriting. Not anymore. Like, I mean, if I try, I can, but I don't try. But with these 2 sets, I'm kind of thinking, I don't yet know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm thinking to combine like the lettering and the painting, because the colors that I chose for each of the sets, like together, they're quite complementary. So I'm thinking, but I also want it to be something that brings something good in my world, or like generally like to people. So I'll see what I do with it. And if you're interested, I'll probably share my endeavors and efforts on Instagram. So feel free to follow. I think the link is in the channel description if you're interested. The reason I want to introduce creative expression early on in the Winter Arc is because of its profound stress-reducing benefits. And I promise you, when we reduce stress and we are more often in the parasympathetic state of nervous system, everything else will sort of flow much easier. All new habits, everything sticks much better when we are in a parasympathetic state, or at least more in a parasympathetic state than in sympathetic states. And on top of it, doing something creative helps stimulate new neural pathways in the brain and can help improve our memory and focus, which are always a good idea to do, because honestly, especially with like I feel like mom brain, it's like I never recovered, especially not after my second one. So anything that helps me be more focused, have more, improve my memory is very welcome. And a very important point I'd like to make here, and that's what I hear very often both from my health coaching clients and just my friends and people I know, is that we need to really give up this perfectionism when it comes to creative expression. Very often what happens, or what I have observed happen, is people think, okay, I am going to do something creatively. I remember I used to enjoy painting when I was a child. And this is, by the way, my important tip. I think it's easiest to find the way to express yourself creatively by thinking back to your childhood and what you really enjoyed doing. Like maybe you can remember, was it singing or dancing or drawing or painting something, or cooking? And most of the times it's this thing that later on turns out to give the biggest sense of reward and joy. So back to what we're talking about, people think, okay, I'll get back to doing this and that, and they go all out, or they think they need to go all out and allocate an hour a day and get fancy supplies and do something super professional, great almost. But no, I think we can all start where we are with what we have, and maybe just a couple of simple things that we really need, and not expect that you can do something in a short time frame, like suddenly create a whole hour every day for something. And for me, for example, with these watercolor markers, my goal, like I will already be super happy if I can do 10-15 minutes a day. That is my aspiration, and maybe not even every day, maybe 5 out of 7 days. I'm more thinking about like weekdays. I can sort of reliably make 10-15 minutes a day for this. But the thing is, and I've observed it a lot in coaching, repeated small actions tend to accumulate over time. If you think about it, if you're watching this video when it's released or around this time, you still have quite a lot of time until the end of this year to establish these healthy, good habits which will lead you to a successful new year. And even 10-15 minutes of doing something reliably, steadily each day build up to create a beautiful new habit. And my other goal, but I'm not being like super strict with myself on this, is to introduce more creativity in my cooking. But I'll see about that. But I always find that cooking is also a wonderful creative expression, and you can really like all the herbs and spices and ingredients, you can really sort of go all out with it. But for now, I'm sort of, also that's my other tip. It's easy to get sidetracked and get too many goals and then crash and burn. So for this reason, I'm specifically for myself focusing on my watercolor markers and just doing it 10-15 minutes a day, simple and easy and doable and measurable. And then if that becomes a habit and grounded enough, then I can introduce other things like more cooking creativity. So bottom line is, choose whatever brings you most joy and creative expression. Can be something you enjoyed doing as a child, or can be something you just want to try now. Build a few minutes each day, like 10-15 minutes is more than enough for starters. And just make sure you commit to this simple thing. And don't expect perfect results or any, it's more about the process. It's not about creating a masterpiece. It's the act of creating something. And especially nowadays when we consume so much, it's important, more important than ever, to create. Make time, make space for creating. So I'm very excited. Please share in the comments what creative activity you're thinking about introducing, and I make an effort to read every comment and respond to most of them. Thank you for being here with me today, and I will see you here next Thursday for the 4th episode of the Winter Arc series. Bye bye!